There have been some serious economy changes in Clash of Clans, and in this video we're going to break down how good they really are. But if you're out of the loop, then don't worry, because I'm going to tell you exactly what you need to know for these three big changes. The first one is that equipment is available for CWL medals in the War League shop. The second one is that resource potions can also be bought for 5 CWL medals, which players have been selling for gems. And the last one is that wall rings are available for 225 raid medals, which players have also been selling for gems. Now the obvious question becomes whether or not these things are worth it, and to analyze that properly we need to talk about resource management. And guys, you want to stick around for at least that portion, because trust me, it is important for all types of players, no matter what type of player you are. But before we get into that, there is a brand new game that is coming out that I think you guys should know about. But before we get into that, a quick message from today's video sponsor, DC Dark Legion, the brand new DC game that is going to be focused around Scott Snyder's Dark Knights Metal series. DC Dark Legion is the newest official DC game for all types of fans and gamers. Guys, let me just start off by saying there is a lot to do in this game. One of the primary things that you can do in this game is to go on missions with your favorite champions, which can be either superheroes or supervillains. There are custom storylines that you can follow, and at the end of these missions there will obviously be some great rewards. Using these rewards will unlock even more things in the bleed, where you can use draws to try and get brand new champions or brand new weapons. There is also a mother box that you can decode to not only get brand new champions, but to also get champion fragments and new resources. You can take your champions and upgrade them to the next level as well to get brand new moves and animations on them. I personally love how there is a custom animation for every single champion when they do their ultimate move. Now of course, all superheroes and supervillains have to operate out of somewhere, and luckily for us we're going to be operating out of the Bat Cave, which is going to be the home base when you play this game. You can use these sections to not only upgrade your champions even more, but to access extra resources as well as additional missions. The base also has some lounge areas where you can switch furniture around from one style to another if interior design is something that you like doing. Above the city you have a base where you can patrol and respond to brand new missions to get even more rewards. And I know that some of you guys are super competitive, so don't worry, there is something for you as well, because there will be a PvP system where you can put your champions against the champions of other players and try to beat them for some additional rewards. For those of you that love clans, teams, or just being able to play with your friends in general, there is something for you as well, because you can create or join a league with all of your friends, and this will get you some additional bonuses. This includes new technologies, wars, and even a bonus treasure chest every single day based on your activity. And you don't need to worry about having the same platform, because this game is going to be cross-platform between Android, iOS, and PC. As you guys can see, there is a ton of stuff that you can do in this game, but one thing that I really want to highlight is the art style. There has been a significant amount of effort put into the art style in this game, and I think it looks really good and operates pretty smoothly. There's even attention to things like voice actors. For example, the voice actor from Batman Arkham Origins is actually going to be Batman in this game. Guys, do not miss this opportunity to play this game. Click the link in the description or the pinned comment so that you can start playing immediately, and thank you so much DC Dark Legion for sponsoring this video. Back to resource management, there are 5 main things that you need to do to improve your progression in Clash of Clans. These things are building time, research time, pet upgrade time, unlocking equipment, and finally upgrading equipment. Now just a note, I've included hero upgrade time as part of builder time, since technically it does require a builder for you to upgrade your heroes. Of all of these, the pet upgrade time is the least significant, since it has its own building and it requires the least amount of time. Therefore, we're going to say that you don't need additional magic items or accelerators to make your pet house move faster. Now the general idea is to have have all of these different types of progression complete around the same time. As you guys can see here on this first chart, the meta before the economy change is as follows. War League medals get you hammers, which help with your building and research time. Gems that you use towards your helpers will also help with building and research time. Raid medals that you use for buying ores will help you in upgrading equipment, and you can use gems as well as just events in general for unlocking equipment. This is an important concept to understand because it helps you realize how you're using your resources towards different areas of the game. And to be clear, if you don't care about efficiency, then you can go ahead and disregard what I'm saying. But if you do care about efficiency, you want to use a chart like this one to make sure that you're maximizing your resources. Now, with the old meta out of the way, let's go ahead and break down the new economy changes. First off, we have the option of buying equipment for CWL medals. Going back to the resource management chart, you're going to remove those Clan War League medals from helping builder and research time to unlocking equipment. Now 750 medals will buy you 6.25 hammers in the CWL shop, and if we use those hammers on 14-day upgrades, we get an upgrade time of 87.5 days that is skipped. This makes it a huge opportunity cost for you to actually decide that you're going to get the equipment. Also, because the only way to get equipment outside of events is through gems, you need to compare those 750 CWL medals to 1500 gems. So the question becomes, how many gems is 750 CWL medals worth? Well, we know that one book is worth 925 gems, and even though hammers are better, just for comparison's sake, we're gonna say that they're equal. Using this logic, 6.25 hammers is a whopping 5,781 gems worth of value. So if you're buying equipment with CWL medals, this is a terrible trade-off because you're gonna be paying in comparison thousands of more gems than you would be if you just bought it with gems in the first place. Once again, if you really want to spend your gems in any way, you just want to unlock all your equipment, go ahead and do this if you don't care about efficiency. But I personally don't think this is the best option, especially since the only equipment available now is the Giant Gauntlet and the Frozen Arrow, which are both not the best. Next up, we have buying and selling of resource potions from the CWL shop. With the insane demand of gems in the game right now, players have opted to use this option to go ahead and get as many gems as possible for anything that they need, especially the helpers. But let's actually analyze whether or not this is worth your Clan War League medals. If we go back to our resource management table, we can see that this method still has the Clan War League medals in the building and the research time section, so there are no changes there. Since you get 10 gems for selling a resource potion and they cost 5 gems each, you get technically 2 gems for every CWL medal that you spend. Therefore, this makes the 120 medals that you would spend on a hammer worth 240 gems in total. Now, once again, if we equate hammers to books, then you guys can see why this is absolutely terrible value. But if we look into it even further, we can see that 240 gems is about half a level for the Builder's Apprentice and the Lab Assistant. And with that logic, for every 2 hammers that you give up, you unlock 1 level of your helpers. Now 2 hammers is 28 days if you use them on 14-day upgrades, and thus you are actually skipping 672 hours when you use those hammers. And because 1 helper level gives you 1 hour of additional boost, it would actually take 672 activations for you to catch up on those hours. And guys, this is why we don't mess with hammers. They are really amazing value and something that every player should be getting. So even though the resource management table is the same, this is an example of how not all things have the same value, even though they contribute to the same area of the management table. And let's say that your argument is that, you know, I'm gonna invest into the Alchemist instead. Well, still at that point, you're giving up a hammer for 240 gems, which is still a very poor trade overall. Last but not least, we have the option of buying and selling wall rings with your raid medals. Looking at the resource management table, this moves your raid medals from upgrading equipment into the builder and research time reductions. This also eliminates any extra ores that you're going to be getting, so this is an important consideration to make. For the price of 225 raid medals, you get 5 wall rings, which if you sell them for 5 gems each, you will get 25 gems at the end of the day. Now this is an even better rate that you'll get than if you did this with resource potions, but do note that you can only buy 3 of each of these deals every single week, which is an important thing to consider. Now it's hard to judge the value of ores from raid medals because it really just depends on what your ore income is like. But let's use gems to compare since we have no other good metric at this moment. Now 15 starry ores will cost you 275 gems, and that will cost 1050 raid medals. And if you instead use this wall ring workaround, then you would only get 117 gems. So on the surface, this really isn't the best trade, especially if you're a lower level town hall level, because ores are harder to come by. However, for higher town hall level players or players with all the equipment you use already maxed, this might be a good way for you to just shunt some more gems so that you can invest in other areas. You can also use this method if you have extra raid medals after you buy your ores every single week. So even though the numbers don't justify it, this one is more of an individual call based on where you are as a player and what your current priorities are. But for the majority of players, I would not recommend doing this. Now these methods are really creative and I had a really fun time analyzing them, even though they're not as good as what the current meta already is. That being said, I can definitely see why players are interested, especially with how prevalent the helpers are and how nice the new helper is, the Alchemist. The thing is, if you're investing a lot of gems into the Alchemist, you might be wasting your gems anyways. And if that's confusing you a little bit, don't worry. You just need to watch this video right here where I break down how good the Alchemist is at each of its levels, or how good it actually isn't.